guys, it's Kirsten Spencer with Sleeping on the Job podcast, and I'm super excited today. I have Julia Kelleher with me. Say hi, Julia, first of all.
Hello, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. Oh, I should have said Nikon ambassador, Julia Kelleher.
Yes.
To make it sound. So I shot Nikon for years and years and years, probably 10 or 15 years. I was Nikon. And I just switched back to Canon for other reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had let's see, where I left off with Nikon was the D700 and I had the D800.
Oh, great cameras. And who cares? Ultimately it's about the person behind the lens. It doesn't matter what camera you have, right?
I've done Facebook Lives and stuff about like how to rock like a Rebel with a kit lens. You know what I mean? Like you can rock anything.
You can. It's all about what you see, how you see it, how you see light, and if you understand the technology behind it. That's all.
Absolutely. So before we dive into your everything, all the business stuff you've got going, because it's so funny because of course I had to like go, I used to watch so I used to live in Oregon for like 8 years.
Oh yeah?
In let's see, Springfield, Salem.
Oh yeah.
Grants Pass.
You're one of those valley folk.
Oh.
I'm over on the east side. I'm in Bend.
I know. I've never, in the 8 years that I lived in Oregon, I never went to Bend.
Oh, crisis. What a travesty.
I don't think I ever even went in that direction. We went up and down a lot.
Yes.
Up.
North, south.
Yeah, and never over.
That's all right. Someday you can come visit. It's beautiful.
Oh my gosh, so beautiful. I know. But I remember when I lived in Oregon, and it's funny because when I saw Bend, I was like, oh yeah, like all that stuff came flooding back about when I lived in Oregon, I used to watch think about this, had to have been 15 years ago.
Oh wow.
It was a long time ago, but you used to do like coffee talks.
Yes. Taco latte.
I was just about to say that. And I remember watching them, and I'm trying to think of when that was because I've been in Massachusetts for like 15 years, I think.
No, it wasn't that long ago, Kristen. It was more like 2015, 16. It was like 5 to 7 years ago. Yeah, no, it was not 15. No.
Okay.
Because I started my business 15 years ago.
So what were you doing 15 years? Because I feel like I used to watch you when I lived in Oregon, and that was
until 2000. You saw me on K2 on the Portland ABC affiliate forecasting the weather. I used to be a meteorologist and anchor for the morning news. That's where you've seen me.
Maybe, but I feel like I definitely talk a lot. I'm trying to think. I thought it was much earlier than that.
No, because I started my business in late 2006, early 2007. And I didn't start teaching until like 2010. And it's 2021. So that's only 11 years ago. So yeah. And Taco Latte kind of came about right after my studio systems boot camp on Creative Live. And that was in 2015, I believe.
Okay, so I was already in Massachusetts. For some reason, the Oregon thing clicked like, oh, I was totally in Oregon when that all happened. But I guess I was already in Massachusetts.
No, and you know what? You were in Oregon when I was in television news in Oregon on ABC, broadcast to Salem and Springfield. I was on the ABC affiliate from 2002 to 2008. That's probably where you saw me. That's why you're thinking that was 15 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
I
don't want to age myself or anything. But I feel like
I hear you.
Because we laugh all the time about like people talking about like pioneers in the photography industry. She's a pioneer in the industry, whatever. And I'm like, I have fine art maternity pictures of myself, and the baby in my belly is turning 19 this year. So it's like, you want to see a pioneer, bitch?
Right.
I go way back. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And like I was thinking to myself too over the past, oh my gosh, like 2 or 3 weeks, like thank God we're not like dating in real life or anything, because our schedules are like completely opposite. So I'm glad we finally got to.
I know. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much for asking me. It's truly humbling. Thank you.
Well, it's exciting. And it's funny too, because just pouring through all of your sites and the your TV thing, which I'm like, oh, I should do that. I should, except for I'm not, I would have to get like hot rollers or something because my hair's a mess. But I would love to be in front of the TV instead of behind a podcast. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
my voice is, my voice is, people know me from that, but I need to explore doing something where people can see me as
Yeah,
well.
it's a totally different world, that's for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, just watching a few of the episodes or whatever, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like our styles are very similar, very engaging, very entertaining. Like I'm sitting there watching the sibling honeymoon, and I was like, completely engaged, completely engrossed in like what you were saying. So you definitely, I don't know, I feel like a very, very similar style, I guess.
That's awesome. That's
Okay.
awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I have a hard time with boring, stupid stuff. I really
Right?
do. I
Right?
really do. Like
Yeah.
even when I'm watching YouTube, like if I'm just looking how to do something, I'm kind of more like drawn to like Aaron Nace or, Pix and Perfect or things that I can learn, but like be entertained. And
Oh, yeah.
there's
You
some
know,
talented people out there that are too boring for
the
me.
entertainment factor is huge. Yeah, and it takes a certain kind of personality to wanna, transmit information and communications. It's a social activity, but also a research-based one. You have to know what you're talking about, but at the same time, be able to deliver it in a positive and engaging way with a voice, etcetera. I mean, not that I have it, but I certainly was trained in it. That's for sure.
Um, you don't just become a meteorologist if you don't have it.
Right? It wasn't that way at first, let me tell you. It was not that way at first.
Oh my gosh. So, okay, so let's start into the early 2000s.
Yes.
Actually, we'll go farther back than that. So
Oh my gosh.
I'm always, if you remember that far, I made a doctor's appointment. I'm not kidding you. I'm in my mid 40s, I guess. And I literally, like a year ago, I made an appointment in my doctor's office, and I went in, and I sat down, and my doctor walks in, who's a woman, and she's like, all right, what seems the problem? I'm like, is there a test for Alzheimer's that you can do on me?
Because I'm seriously concerned I have it at 45 years
Because
old, right?
we got some early onset going on and whatever. And she just laughed, whatever. And she's
It's
like,
it's just a symptom of being in your 40s. You start to forget things. My husband teases me about it all the time. Constant.
yeah, it's literally like, I don't
Don't
forget
write
what I
it
did.
down. I will not remember it.
Oh
Simple
yeah,
as
it
that.
doesn't happen. No, I have alarms. I have alarms set in my phone. Alerts set in my phone to go off 1 hour before, and then 2 hours before, or 2 hours before, and then 1 hour before, and then it'll come time, and I won't go, even though I've had 2 alerts.
That's bad.
Anyway, so it's pretty bad. But anyway, she said I don't have Alzheimer's, so like I guess I'll just hang on
That's
to
a
that.
good
But
thing.
yes, so okay, so going back, what made you? I mean, obviously, I can take swell pictures and I'm blah, blah, blah. But what made you actually like, I'm going to turn this into a business?
Well, my father gave me my first camera when I was 14, 15 years old. It was a Nikon N8008 film camera. And I dabbled in photography in high school. And then in college, I was on the college newspaper photographing as a staff photographer. I interned for the Santa Barbara News Press in California as a photographer. And it was all film back then.
Oh, yeah.
The
I had
college
I had a Nikon N90S.
Yeah, so you know the drill. Then,
Yes.
so then in college, the newspaper was so desperate for writers that they were like, can you write for us too? And so that's where I really honed my ability to write a story and to connect with people emotionally. And I fell in love with it. So I decided to go to graduate school, and I got accepted into Syracuse University's fine art photography program and their broadcast journalism program, master's degree program. And I,
Wow.
for some reason, decided to go with broadcast journalism instead of photography. And so I kind of took a little detour and went into television news because I love the idea of marrying moving pictures and sound.
Yeah.
And I loved, I was in my early 20s, and I was, enamored with the idea of being on television. I thought that would be so fun. And the celebrity aspect of it was very appealing to me. I had a lot of insecurities. So I thought, why not? And so I traveled around the country for different jobs, in television news. To move up and get promoted, you basically move to a bigger market. So my career took precedence over my personal life. And finally, when I got to Portland for KATU television, which is the ABC affiliate there, I loved it, but I realized I was under a lot of stress from kind of the negative news. And my sister had been laid off from her job, and she had started her own photography business. And I went, well, if she can do it, I can do it too. Younger sister syndrome.
Yeah.
And so I followed her, and I realized I had been demoted. TV news is kind of a funny thing. Like if ratings aren't good, or if a new news director comes in, they have the power to switch your shift and move you wherever they want. they can't necessarily like give you less salary, but they can demote you in terms of shift. So I had been semi demoted to what they call the Iron Man shift on the weekends, where I was doing all shows all weekend. So I would go to work in the morning at 3 a.m. on Saturday, broadcast till 9 a.m., go home, come back at 3 p.m., do the evening news, go home, come back, do the 11 o'clock news, go home at midnight, and start at 3 a.m. the next morning. So they call it the Iron Man shift for a reason, because it sucked iron badly. And I had 3 days off a week, but it still just wasn't. I was just miserable because I had been doing the weekday morning show where I had weekends off. I could spend it with my boyfriend, etc. And now I was stuck in this Iron Man shift. And that's when I really started looking at different careers and going, wait, okay, corporate America is not for me. And there is always going to be someone younger, prettier, and cheaper who will come in and replace me on my job, which is kind of a brutal reality of television news.
Right.
It's always these young, beautiful girls and who could get replaced. For males, it was a little different. You had more of a longer career if you were a guy. And it's sad that that was the case, but it's still very much true in the industry today. And so burnout was super high. And I got burnt out. And the negative news, all I dealt with during the week was, when I wasn't doing the weather, was rapes, murders, and child abductions. And politicians. So it's like, I didn't realize the negative energy that was putting on me. And so when my sister started her business and I saw how happy she was and what she was photographing, I'm like, okay, I can do this. So I spent the last 2 years of my contract in television news, year and a half or so, working and building my business while I was in corporate America doing my TV job. And slowly built it up in Portland. And then when it came time for, quote, contract renewal at K2, my news director said, we should part ways. And I just cracked up laughing and went, oh, thank God, because
Right.
I didn't want to be there. And he just looked at me like I was crazy. Like no one's ever laughed at him when he told them that he was firing them, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
And it's getting your contract not renewed is basically the same as saying, hey, we don't like you, you're fired.
Right.
And so I was so happy, jumping for joy. And at the time I had my own home and I couldn't afford the mortgage. So I had to sell my house and I moved in with my boyfriend and started a business
Yeah.
on threadbare, on nothing. I had no income, like literally none. And so I went from making almost $100,000 a year in television to basically less than 10, and it was really rough at first. It was tough and painful. But I was also pretty determined. And my boyfriend, who is now my husband, was a saint to me. And then he got the chance to move to Bend for his own job. And he asked me to come with him. And I said, well, sure, as long as you put a ring on it,
Right.
And so he proposed and we moved to Bend and we got married and I relaunched my business after, 2 to 3 years in Portland here in Bend. So I did it was a long time before I actually got up and running and a solid business because I was changing things up so much so quickly and being forced to pivot in different directions just because of finance, because of hardship, because of life situation and from moving. So, yeah.
So what were you shooting first?
Anything. I was your classic, I'll take anything, generally.
Yeah.
I shot pets. I shot headshots. I loved families and kids, and I always have. But it wasn't until I moved to Bend that I decided, you know what, I love the newborns and the babies. And so that's when I started doing that. And of course, my husband and I got married, and 6 months after we got married, I got pregnant. And so then it just even deepened the connection with newborns. And ever since then, but now I'm kind of like, I love the newborns, but my son is 9 and you know how it is. You want to experiment with kids. I love that preschool, kindergarten, first grade age. They're so fun.
That's
there's just a lot of adventure there with new subjects that I'm being allured by. And I love families. I love studio families now. It's so much energy. It's so much life. And I think a lot of it it's the classic cliche. It's where you are in your own life that you love to photograph. So
I think so. I don't know. I mean, definitely yes, which is why I don't shoot weddings. That's probably the only thing I don't do. Like
right.
hard pass, I do not do weddings.
I don't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Nope. I have like a nervous stomach. You know what I mean? Just all of it.
Oh yeah, no way. Me neither.
I
want my weekends, for Pete's sake. Like, hello, I have a family. I want my Saturdays.
Just all of it. The 700 hours of editing, like culling, just
Oh,
Like I
no,
just have no
right?
desire. But I feel like I started with newborns, just kind of got thrown into doing almost like babies first. And I've been a professional photographer since about 92. And so I feel like always kind of like I was just expected to like do newborns, and then 5 years I had the simple swaddler and newborn, 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 newborn. And now that I'm away from all that, I think, and honestly, I kind of like thank COVID a little bit, but I've done a lot of soul searching since being quarantined and whatnot. And it's just one of those things, like, to say it out loud, I feel terrible, but I don't love shooting newborns.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't, and it's only because I love newborns. I love other people's newborns. Um, I love them great, but like you said, that like 7, 8, 9 year old age, I had a real successful back to school thing um, at the beginning of the year because we were fully remote, my whole town, and there was no Life Touch or O'Connor or whoever we have. And so I kind of did something, hey, outside of my studio, there's a really beautiful alleyway with brick and vines and staircases and whatever. And a lot of that age came, and I'm like, oh my God, we had so much fun just, laughing and posing. And I don't know, I just loved it. And I was like, you know what? I love this.
Well, my thing is like I've had an epiphany the last 3 days and completely tore my studio apart. And I'm dumping every single prop and blanket and wrap and headband and hat that I have. I'm literally getting rid of it
Oh
because
my gosh, I'm doing the same exact thing. I literally,
I can't do it. Yeah, I don't wanna shoot newborns the way everyone else does, and I feel like there's that expectation, especially because I'm an educator and somewhat known in the industry. I feel like there's this pressure to perform, and I'm finally like, "You know what? F this all. I'm gonna be me and own it," and I'm still not quite sure what that is, but it's such a lesson to myself to preach to walk the talk and practice what I preach because
yes.
here I am telling my students to be individual and unique and trust your heart and soul and follow your dream, and I'm not doing it myself. And so like this week has just been, and 2021 in general, like the whole last 3 weeks has been this huge soul searching epiphany thing for me, and I'm going to do it different. And I'm so excited now, and now the fire is refueled to love newborns and shooting and kids and everything all over again. And so I'm jacking my prices, I'm changing the service, I'm up leveling everything, and I can't wait to see what happens. I'm scared to death, and I can't believe I'm putting this out in the public like this. But I'm
We're
I'm
all going to
literally going
hold
to
you
do
to
it
it.
on I'm literally doing it on my Instagram, and I'm going to show everybody what I'm doing. And if you want to come along for the journey, do it to see if I miserably fail. And if I do, great. If I don't, that's great too. And the point is just it's not about the business and money. It's about you and your life and your heart. That's what life is about. And
I
it
agree.
drives me nuts when everybody just is all, yes, it's about money and making a living doing it, what you love. But the first priority should be your heart and following your own visual literacy, your own visual story. And that's what I'm trying to stay true to. And it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a journey. And I tell you,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, what the hell am I doing? Like, are you crazy? Have you flown off your rocker? Do you need some medication? Like, it's bad. But, uh, you know, throw caution to the wind. Who cares at this point?
Well, like a year ago, like, oh my gosh, has COVID been a year? I mean, like literally like 10, 11 months ago, I subscribed to Becoming Minimalist. I think it's a online kind of a magazine movement, and like
Mhm.
stop rearranging stuff to make it look like, get rid of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right?
If you get rid of it, you don't need to rearrange it. You don't need to buy storage for something that you're not going to see. Like, get rid of it. If you don't need it, you don't need to put it in storage. Get rid of it. And so because I was shut down for like what 4 or 5 months, the beginning of COVID, I wasn't allowed to shoot or anything. So I did a lot of fun stuff online. I sold a bunch of like digital images from 2006. Hey, did you forget about these? I still have them. Whatever. And so I sold enough from previous stuff to like pay my bills, and everything was fine. And then meanwhile, in my mudroom, I would put boxes, huge boxes, and I would just take things. Does this spark joy? No. Boom, box. And I would just get rid, get rid.
You
And
Marie
then,
Kondoed it.
I absolutely did. I absolutely did. And I dropped it off. We have a like a thrift store in town or whatever you call it, that takes anything. They will take anything. So it's like even just, you know what I mean? Like old
Mhm.
rippy threadbare towels, whatever. I'm like, gone, gone, gone. So anyway, got rid of all that. And then just in the last couple weeks, I'm like, all right, now I need to go into my studio because my studio space on Main Street is huge. Like I don't even know the square footage. It's got to be over 1,000, I
Mhm.
bet. So it's huge, and it's like, 3 stories and blah blah blah. So it's probably, I'm just talking about the main level is that, and then there's the same under me and to the side of me and on top of me, and it's literally filled with shit that I don't even touch, and I haven't touched in 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And then it's one of those things like, okay, I need 3 bowls. I don't need 8 bowls. I need one whatever and not 15 whatevers. And I don't even like doing pose newborn anyway. I want to kind of transition to um, like a hybrid, I guess, of more lifestyle in the studio, not
Mhm.
as posed. And also, I don't enjoy seeing babies or shooting babies in unnatural things. Like I used a bassinet. I didn't use a bucket when I was putting my baby
Right.
to get all cozy. So it's just not something I do. Um, so I've slowly, well, we have a local photography page, and I've been slowly just purging. Come get it, $5, $2, $1. Come
Mhm.
get it. I have probably 50 of those like lemon drop backdrops or whatever that I bought and never used. So just getting rid of, so I can walk into my studio and it's going to be simple, and fine art is more of kind of what I shoot, and it feels good and it makes my heart happy.
Right. Well, that's
My
good.
heart was not happy when there was just props and clutter everywhere.
It's yeah. And I think that's just it's everybody's journey. And we've been doing this whole prop bucket pose extreme posed thing for a couple decades now in the industry. And I don't know, I think it's time to change things up a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm an outside shooter too. So if it's above 30 degrees, I'm outside shooting. It
That's
was so
awesome.
funny. My little I think she just turned 4 a little bit ago, but my little 4-year-old neighbor was outside completely bundled up because it was snowing today, and she was practicing riding her two-wheeler with training wheels. And mom has like tea, and she's all bundled up, winter coat, hat. It's like literally it's snowing. It's like 30 degrees here in Massachusetts. And little Izzy is out there just, mom, push me to get me started. And she's riding her bike. And I'm like, what a little
Aw.
what a little New England girl out there, just riding. It's like 30 degrees and she's bundled up riding her two-wheeler up and down the road. But
That's so cute.
but that's how I am. Like people complain, like it's like 45. I don't want to shoot outside. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like 30. And I'm like, all right, let's go.
All right.
But
That's
I want to
awesome.
I want to re-fall in love with my studio. And
Yeah.
I'm not in love with my studio. I'm in love with shooting outdoors, but I want to fall in love with my studio. So that's kind of
Where you're at.
daunting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, but it's like daunting to me of like, oh.
Right.
Yeah. So what
I
are
hear
some
you.
common things that students that find you, which by the way, Terry says hello. Terry Bryant said
Oh, I love Terry.
Terry said she's your birthday twin.
She is my birthday twin. Terry is also one of my students, and she's killed it in business the last few years. I'm so proud of her.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
She's
we talk.
totally, yeah, she's amazing. She's just such a love, and she's so driven and forthright, and her work has just exploded in the last couple of years. It's just been so fun to
Absolutely.
see. It's so fun to see.
Yeah. Yeah, she's been yeah, we talk probably almost every day, and I had put in my one of my private Facebook groups. I said, if you could ask Julia Kelleher anything, what would you ask her? And Terry's like, ask her why she's so awesome. I'm like, okay, I'll ask her.
I work really hard at it. Yeah, right.
It's just effortless. It just happens.
Oh, she's just trying to get under my skin in a good way. I know that one right there. That's the oldest trick in the book, Terry. No, she's pretty awesome too. Maybe we should bounce the question right back to her. Why are you so awesome,
Why are you
Terry?
so awesome? I know. I know. I ask her all the time, and then she tells me to shut the fuck up. But anyway, um, but okay, so students that are like, let's just say I'm a, whether I'm new or not, it doesn't really matter, I guess, but I want to, up my marketing game or whatnot. What do people search where they would find you?
You mean like SEO, like what keywords, or are you asking me like what students should do
Like
internally?
if I was a frustrated student and I'm like, I need to take my business to the next level, um,
Where would I start?
yeah, where would you start with that? Like, because
Well,
that's your thing,
the first, yeah, oh yeah, it's totally my thing. The first thing that I would do is I would draw a line in the sand with a student. I would say, wait, before you start screaming from the rooftops that you exist to potential clients out there, you need to do a little self reflection and some inner study of who you are as a business and what you're and where you're at, and take that 40,000-foot view of your business before you start screaming from the rooftops that you exist. And the reason that's challenging and that students don't think about that is because they're so they're so worried about the next dollar. They're so worried about the next client. They're so worried about making their average and whether or not their prices are correct that they forget to see the forest for the trees. And
right?
they forget to look at the fact that if your business is not built on a solid foundation, you're never going to attract a quality client and you're never going to get the average you truly want. So I tell people to really look at the foundation and go, okay, are my systems in place? Do I have a valid customer service system? Is there a good trust runway built between a potential client, a lead, an inquiry, and an actual booking? Is that trust runway long enough for a client to know, like, and trust me so much so that they want to book? And then from there, you have to start over again to build that trust runway even longer, so that they want to buy from you in an average that you need their average to be at to succeed. It's important, and of course, everybody talks about numbers, but they're so important. Think about it. If you want to make 100,000 in revenue per year, and you're shooting on your own, okay, you can really only handle 6 to 8 clients a month. I mean, really.
Right.
And if that's the case, then you want to make 100,000 a year. That's not even 100 sessions a year. That's more like 75 sessions a year. So then you ask yourself, oh crap, that means I need to make more than $1,000 a client, right? To get to 6 figures. Just do the math, work backwards.
Right.
So if you want to shoot 6 to 8 clients a month and you need to chart and you want to get to 6 figures, you got to make $1,200, $1,500 a client. So if that's the case, then your service, your brand, the foundation of your business needs to match that price. So if your business doesn't have a solid brand, it doesn't have a good identity, it doesn't have a good customer service system, it isn't providing the service and product that a $1,500 session should,
right,
then you need to do some revisiting and thinking and revamp things. And that's, what we do in my education mastermind. We get together and we figure out, how can I shore up the holes in my business so that when I do scream from the rooftops, people look at me and they go, wow, you're worth it. You're worth that price. You're different than everyone else. You're not doing the shoot and burn and just offering digital files. You are actually creating an experience for me with a tangible outcome, a physical, tangible outcome that I can enjoy forever. That is worth the price of $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 per session. And from there, and then of course you have to price yourself so that you always get that average no matter what. And that's the art of creating packages, whether it be set packages, create a collection, combo packages. There's so many different ways to do packages, and you have to pick a pricing model that works for you. But that pricing model has to get you to your average every time. There is a deep strategy in creating a pricing model that gets you to the average sale you need every time, $1,000 to $1,500, so that you only have to worry about getting those 6 to 8 clients in every month. And that's your only concern. So if everything in the foundation of your business, your pricing, your branding, your communication, your networking, your ideal client, all that stuff is solid, your product line, everything, then the only concern you have to worry about from the here on out is actually getting clients in the door. And once you get to that point, it's smooth sailing. It's just a matter of rechurning over and over again what you do and providing a product and service to someone who's willing to pay for it. And from there, you can present your business and scream from the rooftops with that confidence that you do look and feel and act your value. And there are people out there who are going to want to hire you for that value. If that makes sense.
Yes.
So don't be so worried about the clients and getting them in the door and whether or not you should lower your prices. And should I do mini sessions? I need $1,000 next month for my studio because I'm short on cash. If you're short on cash, hold off, take a breather, start saving money from any revenue source that you do have, whether it be a significant other, a second job, your corporate job, whatever it might be. Build the comfort nest egg. There's been so many months. Last year sucked. I mean, 2020
Yeah.
was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
And there were months when I was clearly in the red, like clearly more money was going out than was coming in. But I have 2 years worth of operating expenses in the bank, in my little nest egg. So it's not a problem. Yeah, it sucks, but I can easily dip into the nest egg, make the bank account go back into the black, and then try again next month. And then when I have a good month, I replenish the nest egg. That's what it means to be in business. It's always going to be a roller coaster. Some months you're going to have no clients. Some months you're going to have so many they're coming out of your ears. And that's the nature of being an entrepreneur. And so you have to get used to that feeling. If you don't like that feeling, then you should question whether or not you want to be an entrepreneur, because that's really the reality. My sister and I have been doing this for a combined 30 plus years.
Right.
And I have never had a year where every month was solid, rocking in the black, no problem, no fear that, oh my gosh, I might not make the numbers this month. No year ever. So, and my sister, same thing. And so we just got used to the fact that, things aren't always going to be hunky dory, and I have to be ready for that. I can't live paycheck to paycheck, so to speak. So
Right.
get yourself to the position where you're not living paycheck to paycheck. Then riding these waves and this roller coaster will be a lot easier, less stressful, and you'll feel more confident knowing that you can weather the storm and get through it to the next month, and the next month, and the next month after that.
Right. Do you have any little tips and tricks for people that, like, let's just say, like, January for me is always, it's always a little slow because I've been absolutely insane. As soon as I got the thumbs up to start shooting, like in July, maybe July, August, September, October, November, December have been probably the busiest out of my 26, 7-year career.
Crazy. Yeah.
Which is weird for me because I kind of settled into the fact, that, COVID, like, we're in this, pandemic, and, everything's uncertain, and it's going to be okay for me not to work. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm being hired, you know, like, I don't know, maybe everyone's soul searching, and what's important to them are pictures, I mean, who knows, but then January hits, and it's like, wait, what?
Mhm.
Like, I've been working, I've been doing, 6 shoots a week almost for months, between like 2 and 5 photo shoots a week. And then all of a sudden now, for the next 4 weeks, I have nothing on my books. So do you, like, what do how do you tell people to, or what, advice do you have to, like, maybe make income from past clients, or, like, is there any tips and tricks to bring that money in?
Well, I think that, first of all, my biggest quote to that is what my dad used to always tell me. And he says, chance favors the prepared mind. And chance really means opportunity. So
Yes.
opportunities that come along favor those who are prepared for them. So whenever I have a slow period, I actually relish the time and use it to grow and improve my business. I refine systems, refine processes, refine marketing, look for new marketing opportunities, because when you're busy, I mean, did you spend any of that time really honing in and focused solidly on your marketing? Probably not.
Zero,
You're so
zero,
busy.
zero, 0%. January is always my, like, I updated my pricing/welcome guide.
Yeah, and that's what you should be doing during this time. Educating yourself, updating things, redoing your website, adding portfolios, schedule out a year of social media, for Pete's sake. You know what I mean? And get yourself prepared, because the sessions are coming back come spring, especially when
Yes.
the vaccine starts coming through and life gets, quote, back to normal, or new normal as they're saying.
Yes.
We're going to have a lot of opportunity. And you also have to think through, how is the public behaving now? Like, you talked about, you don't know why people are focusing on focusing on pictures or whatever, I know exactly why. It's because their mindset has changed. The pandemic has forced them to stay home, to treasure their COVID pod, their close-knit people,
Yes.
and to relish their homes. And so people are going, you know what? My family is my life's love, and my home is my safe haven from the world. And I want it to be the most special, beautiful place. And I want to celebrate this love and closeness that I've developed with my family the last 10 months. So I'm going to do that with portraits. I'm going to put these on my wall and really celebrate the fact that I am home. And most people in normal times, quote unquote, they're so busy. They're just, everything's so rushed and busy. People don't think to do portraits. They quote, don't have time. Oh, later. Oh, I'll do it next year. And then time goes by. And of course they forget about it again and again and again. But COVID, I think, made people really stop and think and go, wait a minute. This is important to me. And so when, the gates opened back up, you were busy. So I don't think that new core value in the consuming public is going to change. We have been forever altered in our love for our families and our love for our homes. And that's a huge advantage that we as portrait photographers have, because we can exploit that, essentially, obviously in a good way, but we can
Right.
help our clients really capitalize on their feelings and solve that problem for them. And that's all marketing is solving problems. So when you can say to someone, oh my gosh, I want to put something tangible in your home, and your home is your place you relish. And I mean, you can't even, I just moved into we were building a house the last 3 years, and we just moved in and we ordered a hot tub for the backyard. It's going to take 6 months to get a hot tub. Because everybody's ordering them right now, because everybody wants to improve their home. Home tech, movie rooms, furniture, remodeling, kitchen appliances, all those things are 6 months to a year out right now. And so that we should pay attention to those things as photographers, because that tells me people are improving their homes.
Right.
And what do we do as photographers? We improve their homes. So why are we not jumping on that train? We should have a first class ticket, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's funny because I didn't sell digitals. I was probably the last person to sell digitals. I was like, I just had my feet dug in of like, no, I will not do it. And then I finally caved. So, but then I swung completely in the completely other end of the spectrum, where I was like digitals only.
Yeah.
They could get stuff from me. I have everything on my price list or my, online and whatever you could, but people, it was just digitals and that was it. Bye. They get digitals.
Yeah.
And I never see them again until the next, photo shoot or whatnot.
Yep.
And then in December, it's only been a month. So I guess like a month ago, or no, it's been almost 2, because beginning of December, I switched over to pick time. So now people get that, because what I was running up against was a lot of my, younger. So what am I? I'm a Gen X. So like, Gen Z, maybe millennial, a lot of those, maybe not millennial, but the Gen Z, a lot of the people now coming up don't have computers, because everything is done like a tablet, a phone. So a lot of my younger clients are like, oh, we don't have a computer. So how do I have all these digital images, but like, I can't do anything from my phone really, blah, blah, blah. So I switched over to PicTime, because now there's a store attached to it. And now people are starting to get the albums and folio boxes and canvases and framed prints. And I made an extra, just passive incomely speaking, I made an extra 1,000 in December and an extra 1,000 in January. And that kind of got my toes wet, so to speak, of now, like, digital images are fine, and what the other eye opener for me was, so I ended up getting rid of my old file sharing software. And I was like, hey, I'm going to stop with this. So if you haven't downloaded your galleries from the past like 15 years, I'm getting rid of this. And I have everything backed up in 3 locations in my house, plus the cloud. So it's not like they're going anywhere, but download your galleries. And literally there were like 100 people from the past 10 years. Oh my God, I never downloaded my images.
So, and that's the digital dilemma. I mean, they don't download, they just let it sit on the USB. and I
Yep.
don't do anything with them. And it's such a travesty. And honestly, I want my work respected more than that. I'm an
Yes.
artist and I've spent a lot of time and energy and my own heart and emotions to create these images for you. And I want you to respect that. And I've really discovered that I have to force them to respect it. And that means forcing them to purchase art and
Yeah.
and doing it in a way that, hey, if you only want digitals, then I'm probably not for you. Like, you don't have to hire me. But
Right.
if you want to hire me and you love my work, then I'm going to, quote unquote, force you to respect my work. And yes, you can buy the digitals, but you got to buy art too. Because
Yeah.
and so many clients, I've been doing this model, gosh, Kirsten, for uh, oh, pretty much since I started. I've been offering both, files and art. I never went to the full file model.
Ugh.
Um, and clients 10 years ago are coming to me and thanking me. I'm so glad you made us purchase art. I'm so glad we have the framed print you gave us. It's my most loved possession, and that gives me that reassurance. I'm like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. And they might not like it in the moment or think they want it in the moment, I think is more accurate. But
Yeah.
it's later down the road where they come back and they're like, oh, I'm so glad we did that. And then they're converted. They are a trained client. All
Right.
my repeat clients know they're getting art. They plan for it. They're excited and they're pumped about it. So it's just a matter of training your clients, and it takes a while and some patience and some concerted effort on your part as an entrepreneur. But it's so worth it in the end because your work is so respected. Now I
Yes.
get to the point where, because I sign every piece of art that goes out the door. And one time I forgot to sign the work and we packaged it up, and the client like called me upset because it wasn't signed. She was like, "You signed our work last time. Last time, why isn't this signed?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, I had no idea that was that important to you." Like, it was such a compliment, but at the same time made me realize the value of having printed work from an artist and that authority, that expertise. And so
Yes.
she brought the work back and I signed it. But I mean, it was kind of it's embarrassing to say out loud because you feel so like you're bragging, but it's true. The client, once they're trained and they truly love what you do, they want your stamp on it. You know what I mean? They want you to be the expert.
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of my clients, I think the mentality is, well, if I have all the digitals, I'm just going to go make the album and it'll be cheaper. It's like, yeah, that it totally will, but are you going to do it?
And it won't be better.
It won't be better because you're going to go to Shutterfly.
Right?
No offense. But are you going to?
Yes.
I know the intention is there. I know you got all good intentions, but are you going to? I don't
No,
think
certainly don't.
anyone has ever come back around saying, look at this beautiful album I made with the leather, blah, blah, blah. No. And I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, it's just so confusing to make this album. You know what? It totally is, but not to me.
Here's the clencher, Kirsten. Do you know how many other photographers I have profited off of?
Oh, yeah, me too.
Like these other digital people who don't do products. Like their clients will come to me and say, "Can you make an album from so and so's images?" I'm like, "Of course I can print something for you. I can't alter their images or edit them in any way, but I can print an album for you for sure and design it for you." I have made thousands of dollars off other people's images. And to me, that should be a loud wake up call to every single digital photographer out there that you are leaving money on the table. You are not doing your clients a service and they are going somewhere else because you won't give it to them.
Right.
And that's a big smack between the eyes. And, some of my students have discovered that are all of a sudden going, oh gosh, okay, I gotta step it up a bit. And granted, starting out digital is the way to go. And this is what any model works as long as it's profitable for you. There's pros and cons to every model. I mean, doing a tangible model, it's a pain in the ass sometimes. I got to order product. I got to design. I got to get it in. I got to quality check. I got to sign it. I got to package it. I got to deliver it. I got to install it. It's a total pain in the butt, right? There are pros and cons to every single model. The digital model has its own pros and cons, but the digital model pros are this. It's incredibly easy to start out that way.
Right.
You don't have to worry about developing a product line. You don't have to worry about packages. You don't have to worry about, ordering product and figuring out graphic design and all that. And if you price yourself, here's the issue that most photographers have. They price themselves too cheap. And then when they do want to move to an IPS, an in-person sales, or a product model, they falter because their prices digitally were so cheap. And now they realize they're making no money. They've got to upscale everything and they lose all their client base. That's the typical problem. I think you can avoid that if you do it right from the start. You can start offering digitals as long as you do it profitably in the beginning. If you do that, then you simply add on art products and service that goes along with it. And you do something, what I do is create a collection where they have to purchase an art piece in order to be able to buy all their files. And so if you graduate to that model, yeah, you may lose some clients, but if you show the value of the artwork, the service, the installation, the pre-planning, the design, and that you're going to take care of all this tangible art for them in terms of planning it, processing it, ordering it, all that stuff, then the client goes, oh, wow, you used to just do digitals, but this is so much better. This is so much more. And they will gladly stay with you. Even though they're paying more, they're also getting more. So I truly believe that you can graduate from a digital model pretty painlessly if you start off your digital model properly priced. And it's such especially moms with kids. Like Dean was on my hip the entire time I was doing my business. When he was born, I was specializing in newborns. I used to put him in a Mobi wrap on my chest and edit images. I mean, he's been there the whole time. And the digital model is such a great way for moms with kids to be able to make this living, even if it's just part-time, doing something they love while, finding the cracks in the time to do their business.
Right.
And, but if you plan it out and look at the big picture 5 years down the road, when your kids are in school finally, and you do have more time to do things like IPS and product development and packaging and all that, then when you want to graduate to that model, it's going to be so much easier. So don't just think about the immediate now. Think about planning out. Where are you going to be 5 years and how is your business going to evolve and grow? And if you plan for that now, you're going to be so much happier and better off 5 years down the road. And you're going to be so grateful you did it that way.
So I have a question. So every several months, I will, on my business page on Facebook, I'll say, okay, everyone, show me my artwork on your walls. Like,
cute. I love that.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to see creative things. Like, one of my dance moms her daughter's been dancing, let's just say 10 years. At 11 years. And so she has 11 years worth of dance magnets because I also shoot the dance school. Her refrigerator is literally top to bottom covered in her daughter's dance magnets.
Cute.
And so from there, of course, 10 other moms were like, wait a minute, do you have archives of dance? I've been shooting it 14 years. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, can you go back 14 years? And so I can get a magnet of, my child, whatever. Which was a colossal pain in the ass, but the intent was there. But I have people all the time, like, all right, who has canvases of my work on your walls? I want to see it. And people in the thread will show me all the canvases on their walls, or they'll show me something they've made a keychain. They'll show me, whatever. And that, I think, kind of stimulates my other Facebook friends or business followers to be like, oh, wow, she has a 24 by 36 canvas. A friend of mine ordered like 15, 16 by 20s to go up this ginormous staircase. And they're huge. I don't know how she has the room for all of them, to be honest with you. But I think that gets other people that don't do anything like, oh, mine are still, I never downloaded my images. Like, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah.
But here's
yeah.
I love for the competition, keeping up with the Joneses or whatever. And because that gets people, printing and, creating products and getting everyone excited. But here's my question. So my daughter actually was the one that came in and said, Mom, no one in my generation and, use Facebook, like almost at all, not the way you use it and not the way, Gen Xers use it or, millennials use it. How are you going to advertise to the people that aren't on Facebook? And I was like, I live in a very small town. Castle Rock was filmed in my town. That's like my claim to fame, because like, I'm sure they were like, okay, what's the oldest rundown shittiest town in New England that we can film Castle Rock in? And Orange, Massachusetts made the cut, and Um, so I'm always I live in a small town. There's 400 photographers in a a 10,000, population little town or whatever. And I'm still like completely busy. I'm the most expensive person in town and I'm crazy busy because of word of mouth. And I have a couple big gigs. I shoot 3 schools plus the dance studio, plus my normal clients and whatnot. So word of mouth is probably my first line of defense, but Facebook is a close second. And I don't have a third. So, what would you tell people, photographers of a certain age that kind of rely on Facebook, how to branch out?
Okay, so to me, digital marketing is my second line of defense. Digital marketing to me is a big sea with a lot of fish in it. And to me, marketing is built on interpersonal relationships. And it's hard to do that digitally. So, my recommendation is to walk out your studio door and pound the pavement.
I was just about to say pound the pavement, and that's so funny.
And network and partner with other vendors who target your same ideal client. That is the number one way I have built my business, is through vendor partnerships, displays, gift card promotions, events, things like that. That truly is number one. And there's so many different businesses out there that, especially right now, who are desperate for marketing, desperate for clients, desperate for customers. And so this is because of COVID, this is a prime opportunity for us as business owners to pound the pavement and to knock on people's doors and go, hey, you target my same ideal client. Let's connect together and see if we can't keep our businesses afloat and alive. When desperation hits, people will take any help. They will grab a life vest. So business owners who might not normally look at a marketing opportunity or a partnership in a positive light, will now all of a sudden go, oh, wow, you have something that can help me? Great, I can help you too. And their mindset shifts in tough times. So to me, marketing is all about relationship building, because honestly, people won't buy from you unless they trust you. It's as simple as that. So your number one priority as a business owner should be to build trust. And building trust online is so hard. That is a hamster spinning in a crazy wheel on acid. That is not a legit, that's tough. People think it's easy because they can sit at their desk and do it in their pajamas. But you know what? It is actually much harder, and it's very inefficient. And your return on investment, your ROI, is extremely low. But if you can partner, like say family photography or newborns, if you can partner with a baby store, a birthing center, a doula, a midwife, a diaper service, a lactation consultant, an obstetrician, all these businesses are jonesing. They are jonesing to get new customers and new business coming in their door. So I have a partnership with a baby store in town, and every mom who registers their baby at the store gets a gift card from me, and it comes from the business owner, from Molly, as if she bought it from me and gave it a gift to them. And then she also puts a coupon in our baby plan welcome guide. So, I send new customers her way through our baby plan. She sends customers my way through her newborn registration. So it's got to be a two-way street, but that truly is when people go and buy from Molly and buy their car seat or their stroller or their crib or whatever, and she says to them, here's a gift card to someone I love. She is basically endorsing me, and they trust her because they've just purchased from her.
Right.
That is an easy win. Easy win. And vice versa. I say to them, oh, Molly over at Baby Phases has given you a gift card because you've joined our baby plan. You can go in and get bottles, diapers, whatever you need for baby, or teething rings as she's getting older and getting into her first year. And they get so excited. And so I send people back to her store. So there's ways to do this. And, you can pretty much do this with any business that targets your same clientele. And you're more than likely to get clients out of that than you are off Facebook. If you are still married to the idea of doing digital marketing, millennials and Gen Z are on Instagram more than they are on Facebook. Facebook
Yes.
pages organically are pretty much dead.
Yes.
You got to pay to play.
Oh yeah.
And, you can pay to play on Instagram if you've got some money to put towards it. But Instagram is going to be a better bet than Facebook when it comes to that millennial age. Snapchat is huge right now. Clubhouse is getting huge. TikTok's huge in those younger generations. And so we have to appeal to that. And as we get older and in our 40s and 50s, those of us who are still doing this, it's up to us to research these new technologies. They're coming, and we either accept it and go with it and mold and form and grow to, adopt that, or we die. It's as simple as that.
Well, I even say all the time, just being, of a certain age, I love talking on the phone. I feel like if I can get you on the phone, you will book with me.
Yeah. Well,
That's
no one in the younger generation feels like that because they've never been forced to be on the phone.
Right. They never had to. I know my daughter, who's 16, when she was 12, I guess, she was like, she's one of those, like, she's like the easiest kid on the planet, but she wanted a cell phone, and I was not going to cave. And she's like, well, what grade were you in when you got your first cell phone? I was like, girl, I was 32 years old and I had 2 children and I was married. Like, I wasn't in 8th grade. I'm sorry. So, not going to happen or whatever. But I see people all the time. Oh yeah, I don't talk on the phone. Nope. Everything is via email.
Yeah. So then that's up to you to build that trust via email. You have to
I guess if someone told me they would not talk to me on the phone, I would just be like, next.
Yeah, but be careful, because in the future, like I said, adopt or die. If that's what your target client is doing and that's what they're comfortable with, then they won't trust you if you won't do something they're not comfortable with. And a client who doesn't trust won't buy.
That's true. But being texted, getting a text at 11 o'clock at night, like,
I know. Yes, I hear you. And trust me, I've fought it too, being a Gen Xer. But at the same time, it's, there's other ways. There's video, you can send videos via email or web pages to build that trust. It's just a matter, like I said, of building that trust so that they'll want to buy from you. So it's so important to meet them where they're comfortable.
But what do you do when you're too stupid for TikTok? I'm sorry. I downloaded the app because I was like, oh, it's something new and I can do Instagram. So I downloaded TikTok. I cannot figure it out for the life of me. But then, like, Kara Taylor from Floral and Evergreen, who is, a generation younger than me, I look at hers and they're like brilliant and clever and photography related. Some family, some her business and whatnot. And I'm blown away and I can't figure it out at all. And then just in the last week, now I need a download invite to Clubhouse, whatever. I'm like, what? Like, I still can't barely figure out Snapchat.
I know, right? Well, and if it makes you feel better, I'm on TikTok, but I'm not, and it's, honestly, you have to really pick and choose and set your boundaries, and you have to do what you can. And you have to research where your clients are at, do surveys with your current clientele, figure out what they're doing, where they're at, constantly take the pulse of your community, constantly take the pulse of your potential client, and mold and grow. That's what it means to be an entrepreneur. If you stay stagnant, you'll never move forward. And that's half the fun of being an entrepreneur too, because it's always changing. You're never stuck in the same old all the time.
Right. Thank God. I know.
Right?
I think at this point I've been self-employed since I was 21. No, since I was 23. So I have not gotten like a W-2 in 25, 6, 7 years, and I think at this point I just say I am unemployable. I could not work for the man.
Right.
Like there's no way. If someone said, Kirsten, go and do blah, 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 what? Like, I do things when I want to do them. I do what I want to do and when I want to do them. And
that's the joy of being an entrepreneur. It's the freedom.
And that is the joy.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So a couple things. We're probably way over. I told Chelsea, like, 30 minutes.
That's all right.
It's never 30 minutes. But I did want to wrap or some final thoughts here. So I really try with every single podcast to, and I mentioned this, have some kind of coupon for. So I usually do one for the early birds and then one just for the public. And I made a couple on I have an Etsy page and I wanted to share those here. So all of my Santa stuff, it's not Christmas anymore. So I have a coupon, all capital letters, one word, Bye Bye Santa, which is just a sale on my Santa stuff, 20% off or whatever, to get rid of those. And I also made another one. Let me look at it. It is 20% off and anything over $10. And it is all capital letters, one word, rotten Easter eggs. So that's something I wanted to, I always got to do the inappropriate
right?
inappropriate coupon codes. And then this one is the same one. I have COVID Easter Take Two, which is, or the code is COVID Easter Take Two, number 2, and it's 50% off of any order over $20.
Nice.
And the reason I did Take Two is last Easter, I had access to a bunny suit, and 2 days before Easter, I said to my daughter, "Oh, how cute would it be to make some bunny overlays? Because now the malls aren't doing Easter. People aren't doing the Easter bunny thing. People aren't even allowed to shoot at this point. So let's do it." And 2 days before Easter, it ended up, it was raining here in Massachusetts. And I was like, ugh, all right, you know what? Forget it. I don't want to take this suit out in the rain. It's not even mine. I'm borrowing it. And then the next day it was gorgeous. And I said, you know what? It's the day before Easter. I don't know who's shopping the day before Easter for overlays, but let's go for it. And so I took her out and took some pictures. And needless to say, I sold probably 2,000 of them.
Nice.
So, but I'm thinking now, a year later, like, of course, COVID's not going to last that long. Well, here we are now coming, Easter is on the horizon and I don't know. I don't really see an end in sight quite yet. So now my Easter bunny is I'm selling a couple a day now, leading up to it. So I wanted to have a coupon code for my listeners if you didn't buy the Easter bunny digital overlay frame image last year, grab it this year. And so I know you have something to share with listeners too. So I'll let you take over with your spiel and also tell people where to find you, where to sign up for your marketing.
Yeah, well, we have our online business mastermind is a monthly membership for photographers to help them grow and build their businesses and refine what they have and get them to 6 figures and beyond. We have a lot of extremely advanced 6-figure plus students in our mastermind, and it is a monthly membership. And we're right in the middle of our Clarity Collaborative, which is our annual event to boost and build your business, to refine things that need fixing, to fill your holes, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to have that open for just a little bit in honor of Kirsten's podcast. Yay. So the link for that is 5ccollective.com. So 5 Carat Collective, 5, the letter C, collective.com. So we'll keep that open, and it is $39 a month. And you can cancel at any time, but we hope you won't, because I'm on there. We mastermind pretty much every week, get on Zoom calls. We all talk. We help each other out. It's a wonderful community of men and women who are focused in multiple genres: senior, boudoir, commercial, wedding, newborn, family portraits, mainly portraiture, but there is some commercial as well. And it's just a fabulous place for you to really get that support you need in your business and to grow it to the next level. And I think now is just the perfect opportunity for us to do that. It's COVID. Clients expect things to change because the world is changing. So what better opportunity do we have than to make big changes now? And I'm doing the same thing. You can find me on Instagram at Julia Kelleher. You can watch me take a nosedive as I completely up-level my business in the next few months. I'm going to double my prices. We're going to add services. We're going to upscale the products. We're going to rebrand the studio and redecorate. So you can follow along on Instagram. You can also find me at Jewel Images on Facebook. And you can also find our free Facebook group, Photography Business by Design, at facebook.com/groups/Julia Kelleher. So I'd love to see you there. And that's a free Facebook group. And we have lots of fun content about designing a beautiful business in there as well. So thanks, Kristen.
Yeah. I know it didn't even occur to me to put my journey of revamping my whole studio and everything on
It's
Instagram.
a risk. I mean, because I have no idea how it's going to turn out. I mean, I'm hoping it'll turn out great. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make it great. But I have to walk the talk. And if I'm going to do that, I got to show my students what it's really like, the ups and downs, the good part and the good, the bad, the ugly, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there'll be some speed bumps and some ugly times. And it's not going to be, it's going to require taking a humble pill to put that out on Instagram, but I'm going to do it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no. I'm definitely inspired. And I just, I had a bunch of stuff that I had in storage in my home. I had it brought to my studio this afternoon, actually. And I told my friend's boyfriend is like my rent-a-husband because I don't have one.
Right.
And so I'm always like, Mike, I need, because he's, 6'3" and big, and so he'll just grab a sofa and throw it over. It's like Paul Bunyan, just grab a sofa and a chair and just, and then he grabbed a bunch of stuff and just threw it in my studio. So it's like an absolute train wreck right now.
Oh yeah, mine looks like a hurricane blew through. Yeah,
it looks like someone picked up my studio, shook it, and then set it back down. But
right.
But I feel like I'm going to go in and take some pictures, and this is before, and then really razzle dazzle what the after looks like when
that's a good idea. Thank you for saying that. I'm going to do that too, and show the mess of my studio and do before and after. That's a great idea.
It's fun because I think people, like, whenever I come clean about certain things, like, mom fails or photographer fails or just real life, stuff or whatever, people are like, oh, because I think, I don't know, like the image you portray, whatever, is everything is perfect all the time. You know what? I bet Julia's batteries never die in the middle of a shoot.
Yes, they do. And I feel so stupid when it happens. Exactly. And I just sit there and I look at the red blinking light and I'm like, please just last a little bit longer, please.
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, I mean, I've been in business for 27 years. So like, obviously my bag has like 4 fully charged batteries at all times and 37 memory cards, but there's a reason that they're in there because let me tell you, I've driven an hour to a photo shoot before and been like, I don't have a memory card.
Right.
So we've all been there. Even Julia, even people that look like
I lose empty memory cards. Like I always download right after the shoot, but like then I'll set the card down somewhere. And so I'm constantly buying new memory cards because I'm such an idiot and then I lose them. And then of course, when I buy a new $100 memory card, I find the one I lost, which is, so typical.
But the good news is you can never have too many memory cards.
Right. This is true.
So I have like 50, I think. Like every Black Friday, I'm like, but, and I'll just buy.
I don't know quite that many.
Oh yeah, I have that many. That was literally not an exaggeration. That's hysterical. So anyway, it was lovely meeting you.
You too,
finally, and getting this all together. And I'll have to say thanks for Terry for saying how wonderful you were and to share that with the world. And so so everyone run over and join the Facebook groups and poke around and watch all the. And you have a lot of free content too, I
have a ton of free content inside the Facebook group and on my website, jewel-images.com too.
I was on your website and I was like, oh my God, there's a lot of free stuff. So, so poke around. There's no excuse. I mean, everyone can afford free. Poke around. And then if you're inspired, Well,
that's the thing. I always believe that you should connect with an instructor because not everybody learns the same way so you have to find the right teacher for you. Yes. And so there should be free stuff out there because then you can get a flavor and a taste for it and see if I'm a good fit, and if it's a good fit, then you go for it. If it's not, you move on.
Yep, absolutely. So so definitely I'll share all the,
Thank you.
If you want to send all the links to me, I'll post them on the Sleeping on the Job podcast Facebook page.
Thank you so much, Kristen. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So when this posts, people can click around and the links will be at their fingertips. So anyway, it was nice meeting you and we'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Thank you so much, Kristen.
All right, you're welcome. I'll talk to you soon.
Why did I say Kristen? Kirsten.
It's auto. What do you call it? Autocorrect.
Autocorrect for my mind.
For your mouth.
Take care, hon.
All right, bye.